Here's Barbara with a look at other developing stories.
Only 1 in 5 Chicagoans are in favor of Mayor Emanuel's job performance, according to a new poll in the Sun-Times, many saying he's no better than his predecessor, Mayor Daley. Just 29% of those polled said they would cast their vote for Mayor Emanuel if the election were held today.
I'm not happy with his performance at all, but I hope that he will make a big come around, but I would like to see somebody else in office.
Everything that I've seen that he's been involved with, I've been impressed with so far.
Jewel Osco is taking a big step to help job applicants with criminal pasts. The grocery chain has agreed to remove the felony question box from its employment application. The community group leading this Ban the Box effort hopes other companies will follow Jewel Osco's lead.
If you serve your time and you've done your time, then you should still be able to get a job.
Pizza it is, at least for students enrolled in Township High School District 214 in suburban Arlington Heights. The school board recently voted to drop the National School Lunch Program and its healthier food choices, which will cost them $900,000 in federal funding. The district said it will offer its own healthy lunch options, choices their students will eat.
I think they should give their students access to, federally subsidized food rather than, support some pizza that they like.
Ready to dig in on these stories are Jim Lakely, Director of Communications for the Heartland Institute, Carol Fowler, co-founder of Q Digital, and Antoinette Smith with the American Bar Association. Welcome to you all.
Great to be here.
Well, a recent poll out this week in the Sun-Times shows only 29% of those surveyed support the mayor, and 1 in 5 think he's doing better than his predecessor, Mayor Richard Daley. The election is 9 months away now. Jim, how much trouble is he in?
Frankly, I don't think he's in that much trouble. He's got $7 million in his re-election campaign accounts, and the closest pursuer has a small fraction of that. But the truth is, he really hasn't done a lot better than Mayor Daley. If you look at the fiscal situation of the city of Chicago, I mean, he's borrowed almost $2 billion, and the city council, they just let it go through without much discussion. I mean, that was what Mayor Daley was doing. And now he has a proposal to raise property taxes by $750 million. Nobody really supports it. I think it's got 1% support. I mean, that'll be a disaster for the city of Chicago. We need pro-growth policies for Chicago, and if a mayor was going to do that, that might be a difference maker from him and Mayor Daley, and maybe people would like him more.
Now, his approval rating is sliding. The mayor says it's probably because he has to make tough choices and difficult decisions. Carol, is that it, or is there something more to this?
I think with Mayor Emanuel, it's more a problem of style than substance. The man just has a bad bedside manner, and we knew what we were electing. Who is shocked by any of this? Really, really. People don't change too much, and but I do think with the school situation, he is politically isolated. When you lose the principals, when you lose the managers in charge of each of these schools, and I don't have a feel for the degree he's lost every single principal. It may be a rump group of really loud and noisy principals. I think that remains to be seen. But for the outspokenness, they've jumped the wall. It's now, principals are outspoken now, and they're critical of him, and I think that's a big problem.
You're referencing an editorial in the Sun-Times by a principal that others have signed on to, basically saying they feel muzzled by CPS when they complain about things in serious issues, that they're ignored or either muzzled and feel like puppets.
And disrespected. I think it's a manner of respect, and it all points to what's your style, what's your leadership style, and I think that is a problem.
You mentioned style. A Tribune editorial paints the mayor this way, and I'm quoting here: his arrogance is oversized for the record he has amassed. He's beyond bossy. He's a walking personality disorder, but his audacity exceeds his accomplishments. This is a dangerous combination. Is that on target or a cheap shot, Antoinette?
I think it's on target. I also think he hasn't changed. He was the same way before. I think with the teacher strike and the dissatisfaction with the principals, the public is more aware of that, and they're more fed up. After the teacher strike, to propose a new selective enrollment school on the north side of Chicago is not really a smart decision. To put more money in schools that don't help the entire community is not the best decision. Do something better. Try to do something to please the people even if you don't really want to pretend. Get a PR person.
The editorial also made a point saying that, you know, we put him in office because he was our kind of bossy.
Yeah.
When did the tide turn?
Be careful what you ask for, right?
Exactly.
There you
Exactly.
go. When did the
Exactly.
tide turn, and what issue do you think it turned on, or was it just kind of a tsunami of things? How would you look at this, Jim?
Well, I think it's the fact that the credit rating for the city of Chicago has been knocked down 4 notches in 8 months. I mean, that's not a sign of a good job performance. You know, I was actually pretty excited about Rahm Emanuel coming in, and the way he came in, you know, it was Romzilla. He was just going to go and storm
Take
through
care of
Chicago.
business.
You know, you've had a Daley in office for half the people in Chicago have been alive. And so he was going to shake things up, and his reputation for being coarse, for being vulgar, frankly, and for not caring who he annoys to get things done, I thought would be a good thing for the city. And so, yeah, you see the principals being upset. Well, they should be upset because Rahm was trying to change the status quo of the city schools of Chicago. It certainly wasn't anything good that we should have saved. So you are going to, as they say, you know, break some eggs and you know, to make the omelet, but you're going to make people upset. And so, you know, I was happy for that. But what I was disappointed with is, you know, Rudy Giuliani kind of had the same reputation when he came in to be mayor of New York, and New York was a disaster in the early 90s, and he turned it around with his attitude, but also with good policies, where he encouraged business growth in the city of New York, where he reduced the crime rate by backing the police and not backing down when civil rights activists were getting in his face about it. Rahm has not shown that kind of courage, and until he does, I don't think we're going to see change in Chicago, and I don't think we're going to see people liking him much, because you have to have results with all of that attitude, and not just the attitude.
Right.
Well, what we are seeing is almost a kinder, gentler Rahm Emanuel. In the days past, he was criticized as being an elitist. We saw him this week at a Hawks game in a rumpled denim shirt with his daughter. He was criticized as, you know, not listening to people, and now he's saying, the door is open. I want to listen to principals.
Well, it's too late.
I was going to say, is this too little, too late, or how do you see it?
I think to the point you made about education being a tough subject, it's a tough subject, and I actually applaud him for taking it on. It's a big, big subject, but I think he just went about it the wrong way. When you lose the principals, when you lose the board employees, and don't try from early on to be a consensus builder, then I think now it's too late. It's a shame, actually, because there was such an opportunity there with him being taking a fresh approach, albeit a hard-nosed approach.
And Antoinette, can he reverse this in your eyes?
He could. There's always an opportunity to reverse any situation, and I think that he can reverse it by listening to what people say they need, and letting them know that you hear. People want validation. They want to know that you hear them, and that you want to take action and help them to get the things they need. Anything can be reversed, and I don't think he needs a total lobotomy in order to do that. I think he can still be who he is and reverse the situation
Without a personality transplant.
Yes, exactly.
But no, he may have a lot of criticism, but he also has finances. Jim, you mentioned the $7 million in his campaign coffer so far. He also has popular friends. Bill Clinton will be in town next month to host an event for him. And no opponents as of yet. What will it take, or who will it take to beat Mayor Emanuel?
I don't really see anyone on the horizon. You know, I think it's fun to talk about, and interesting political theater to talk about Toni Preckwinkle, and could she be? I just don't see a scenario in which she would run. But that's obviously a decision she alone has to make. But as you said, Barbara, there's only 9 months to go. As you said, Jim, he's got a whole lot of money.
A lot of money.
and between the personality and the bankroll, the financing, that's really intimidating for anyone. And there's just nobody with the stature and to take him on.
Definitely not with the political connections.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about second chances in another way. Shift gears to Jewel Osco. The supermarket chain is no longer asking job applicants if they have a felony criminal history. So basically putting them on even footing with people who have never been arrested when it comes to the initial stages of the job interview process. Jim, is this a good idea?
I think it's a great idea if a business wants to do it, and I applaud Jewel Osco for that. That's a business decision that they should be able to make. And if they, the idea of checking off the box, well, there was a bill proposed where they would outlaw the idea that you would have that checkbox and that you wouldn't be able to inquire about someone's criminal past until the second stage of the interview process. That is a horrible idea. I mean, for Jewel Osco, it kind of makes sense because most jobs, when you go into Jewel Osco, are already entry-level jobs. You're already past the first two stages already happen at once. And so they can ask that when they get the person in. But for other employers to mandate that they do this is just going to increase the amount of time it takes for someone to get hired. It's going to increase human resources costs, and it's going to waste the time of a lot of businesses. If you want to voluntarily do it, that's fantastic. Second chances should be for everyone. But you should mandate it across the board.
Now, advocates say this gives hope to a hopeless population who was turned down, continually when they were looking for jobs. Companies can still do background checks. They can still reject you for having a criminal past. So is this giving hope or creating an even bigger letdown later on in the process?
I think it's giving hope. I think it's giving hope. If you know going into the application process that you have to check the box that says you're a felon, and you may assume I'm probably not going to get the job, so why would you continue to do that? How easy is it for you to go back to doing the thing that is not necessarily legal, where there's no box to check for that? I've done this before. I know that I can earn money doing this, whatever it is, to feed my children and do the other things that every citizen wants to do. I think giving people hope is not a bad thing.
I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that, Jewel did this for business reasons. Undoubtedly, Jewel didn't do it to be nice to a segment of they did it probably because it was, having a felony filter was an unnecessary, it limited the number of otherwise really able and qualified applicants, and they chose to do that for that reason. For the government to get in and place a one-size-fits-all solution, I think is a bad idea.
All right, we're going to move from the supermarket to school lunches. And the big question has to do with, would you trade $900,000 for pizza and French fries? One suburban school district basically turned down the federal subsidy off the school lunch program, didn't want to serve the kids what the new federal program offers because they said they won't eat it. It'll be a waste of food.
Not the pizza I got in school. Not that pizza. Maybe pizza's a lot better now.
Let's hope so, because I'm thinking cardboard with tomato sauce on it. But does this send the wrong message that, shouldn't kids have to eat their vegetables?
Yes,
I think they should.
Yeah. As a parent, you want to know, I'm the mom of two girls, and when they go off to school, you want to know that a healthy lunch is being, a school is known as a building of adults, that adults are running things and they're putting on the plate food that's nutritious. Kids learn better when they eat nutritious food. Now, I even got a chuckle when someone with a school district said, we're going to substitute our own healthy menu. Right. Does anybody really think? If they want to reserve the right to serve French fries and, whatever else, I think it's irresponsible to turn down that amount of money on that grounds. But
Look, the school lunch program
make money in some way, right?
Right. I mean, the school lunch program has expanded greatly over the last many years, and so there are a lot of people that are on the school lunch program that aren't necessarily economically stressed that they deserve to be on it. And to your point that if I'm a parent, I want my children to have a healthy lunch. Well, make it for them. Right. Put it in a bag and send them to school with it. When I was going to school, boy, it was a treat to get that pizza on the Friday. I would have a packed lunch 4 days a week, and I would ask my mom, can I have $2 so I can have pizza and french fries and a soda at school? And so I actually applaud the bravery of the school district to decide, look, these kids are throwing away all of this food in greater numbers. They're just not eating it. And if the idea of feeding kids because a hungry child is not going to learn very well, well, give them a piece of pizza and some French fries. At least their stomachs aren't growling and they can learn instead of throwing away all this food and wasting it.
We'll have to leave it at that. Pizza and French fries. I'd like to thank our guests, Jim Lakely, Carol Fowler, Antoinette Smith. Thank you for joining us today.